Hi and welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank
So
you
nice
for being
meeting you.
here. Yes, we have Rose Hayden with us today, and so excited to get to talk with you and chat with you. And thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here.
So, I first found you on Instagram, and I just immediately fell in love with you and your work. And I just think you are so creative
Oh,
in,
thank you
in
so much.
everything.
I
in
appreciate
in your
that.
movement and your choreography and the way you interact with your students. So
Thank you. It's a great experience getting to work with these kids for sure.
yeah, absolutely. So can you kind of take us through your dance history, where you began and where you are now?
Of course. So I started dancing when I was about 5. Started dancing in Birmingham, Alabama, at a studio called Birmingham Dance Theater. And I became a competition kid there. So I competed from about 7 or 8 until I graduated. And I trained mostly in jazz and lyrical and ballet, hip hop, and I assisted some on convention. And then I graduated and moved to LA, and I got a dance degree at Loyola Marymount University. And there I also got my Pilates certification. So I kind of had some injuries after I graduated from college, just from hours and hours of dancing. And so I went into Pilates. And then when I was ready to dance again, I started teaching at a studio. And then I just really fell in love with teaching and choreographing for kids. So I kind of fell into that. And then we moved to Charlotte, and I've been doing that ever since. So I'm still teaching. I'm at a studio called Steps in Motion, and I choreograph for them, and still really enjoy working with kids. It's just so fulfilling and so great.
Yeah, that's a great journey. And I love what the Pilates and yoga world do for dancers.
Absolutely. So I teach Pilates to my kids as well, and it's really interesting to see
Yeah.
how they adapt to it.
Yeah, it's so great for dancers and kind of extending their dance life as well. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So you experienced a lot of Zoom calls over
Yeah.
the past few months.
Tons.
Lots of them. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And you were so creative. You did this one thing where you just merged a bunch of the dancers together in this full combo, and it was just so beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
so what would you tell everyone about things that you learned through dancing and teaching via Zoom? What are some things that you would recommend, some things that you wouldn't do again or would not recommend?
Yeah, so I did notice right away that much harder to connect with your students through Zoom because you have everybody muted. You're trying to make jokes, nobody's laughing. It's just really strange. But I have to remember that on the other side, they're listening to me. I'm still their teacher as if I'm in the room. So I try really hard to just make it as normal as possible, as if I was talking to them and they were still responding. So I try not to let that get in the way too much, because that was definitely a little um, offsetting at first.
Right, it's a barrier. It feels
Right.
like, just like you said, like you're talking to nobody. So
Right.
yeah, that's a great
Right.
thing. Just get rid of that wall and just know that they are talking to you or they're
Absolutely.
listening to you. So
Right.
mhm.
Another thing I notice, especially with younger kids, it's not happening as much with the older kids, but the younger kids, it's much harder for them to pick up on details because they're not seeing it live. And normally I don't have a mirror because I'm doing it at my house. So they're just seeing behind, and I'll turn around and show them what I'm doing in the front, but it's definitely much harder for them to pick up on details. So I have found that I need to go slower,
Mhm.
go through the details a little bit more and just really break it down more so than I would at the studio.
Right. Yeah.
Also because I'm trying to run to the screen and watch them and trying to demonstrate at the same time.
Right.
So definitely details are more of a thing.
But I love that about details because it is so true. Whenever you have the computer screen as a barrier, you really do have to break down those details because it
Right.
almost gets lost in translation a little bit. So,
Absolutely. And they don't have their friends to watch, and
right.
and there's that lag. There's the lag of the
The
music.
lag. Yeah.
So you
Yes.
can't spotlight someone either. So I can't say, okay, this girl has it. Let me just have her spotlighted on the screen. Because if the music's coming from my side, there's also that lag.
Right.
So
Yeah.
many challenges
Yeah.
for sure.
Are there things that moving forward you would say, yeah, I won't do that again, or anything like that? Any kind of don'ts in the Zoom teaching world?
Um, I would say really just I wouldn't get as I think sometimes I get frustrated with Zoom, when you're teaching Zoom over and over and it's just kind of that like Zoom fatigue almost. I'm just dying to teach the kids again and I'm like they're not going to be motivated today. So I'll go into it kind of bummed out and then I see that they're working really hard and they're going full out and doing the combo full out and they're still working really hard. So I definitely try to remind myself, I have to go into it with just as much energy as I would in a regular class because these kids still want to learn and the majority of them are still excited for class even if it's on the computer.
Right. Yeah. And that's such a good thing to remember too, because I feel like, I mean, dance teachers are humans as well. And some days
Right.
we have good days and some days are bad. And even that thing where when you walk into a studio, you kind of leave your problems behind and
Right.
that type of thing where you show up for your students. And the same thing applies to Zoom calls. And it's kind
Right.
of like, okay, well, as soon as I push join meeting or whatever it is, I have to show up for my kids, even if
Right.
it isn't in
Absolutely.
the way that I want to be here for them. So,
Right. Totally.
yeah.
Exactly.
Now, how are you transitioning? Are you back in the studio now? Are you getting,
So we have a few teachers who have been back. They've been teaching in the studio. We've taped off the squares and we have all the kids, temperature checks. They wear masks in the hallway. They don't have to wear masks when they're dancing, but they've got their squares that they stay in. Unfortunately for me, my dad has some health stuff going on. And so he's really high risk. And we just want the freedom to still be able to see him. So I've had to make the hard decision that I'm not ready to go back to teach quite yet.
right? Yeah.
But our studio has been amazing. I mean, they set up an outdoor studio with sprung floors and a tent and fans and a
Amazing.
giant TV. Yeah. So the kids have really had options. The ones who aren't comfortable, they can go on Zoom. If they don't want to go inside, they can dance outside. So we do have teachers that have gone back, but unfortunately I haven't quite yet.
Yeah. And I love what you said about that the students have options now. It's
Yeah.
not just one option. If you want to dance, you have to be in the studio. They have different options. I love the idea of the outdoor class. I love
Yeah.
that. With the sprung floors. I love
Yeah.
it. That's
I
amazing.
did not know that was possible, but it is. So it's been a great success. The kids love it. I mean, it's hot, but
But they're used to hot and
exactly.
sweating.
They don't mind.
Right. They just want to be dancing. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So it's
Is there anything moving forward that you've learned and that you're going to take into your dance classes and into your choreography and things like that? Something that you've learned from just this whole COVID teaching experience?
yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it is I think just being super motivated to give as much as I can to these kids now knowing, they may have a year where they don't get to dance or these seniors may never get to dance again, and it
Right.
is important that the experiences they do get in the studio when they get to be there are something, that really becomes a memory for them and really leaves an impact on them.
Right. Kind of like um we can't control what's going on, but we can really make the best of it. Like what can we
Exactly.
do and how can we make the best of it? So
Absolutely.
yeah, I love that thought. So you're such a great dancer and choreographer.
Thank you.
And I love the Instagram post that you make with your daughter dancing in the background. That is
Oh
just
yeah.
absolutely precious. She dances as well, and I just love that. So I have a few lightning round questions for you,
Okay.
and you can
Okay.
just tell me what the first answer that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay, so number one, what is your favorite Broadway show?
Oh, my favorite Broadway show.
No, that's a hard
I
question.
guess right now it would have to be Hamilton.
Yes,
I mean,
great.
I actually
So glad-
cried real tears, so.
I know. It's so great. Did you ever get to see it in person?
I I did. So a good friend of mine had just booked the show, so we flew up to New York to go see it
So
right before, I mean, literally weeks before the world shut down.
yes,
So we're really happy we got to do that.
exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. I'm glad that
Yeah.
you got to see it in person. That's awesome. I
Oh,
agree. Hamilton is so great. Um, do you have a go-to song that you have on your playlist that if you need to do a warm-up or you need to do plies or whatever and can't come up with a song, that's the song that you use, or abs or
oh.
whatever?
I don't know if I have a go-to because I feel like I get sick of my music really easily.
Yeah.
Like if I've done a piece to it or a combo to it, it's done and then it's
It's
moved
done
on.
and moved on.
And
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same with my warm-up music as well.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always changing. And I feel like my playlist constantly gets deleted on accident. So I always have to start over.
Start over. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I do have a go-to, unfortunately.
Yeah. I like how you're rotating them out and keeping things
Yeah.
fresh. Yeah, that's really good. If you could do one thing besides be in the dance world, and
Mhm.
of course you'll always be a mom, what would it be? What profession would you choose?
Oh, I would probably want to be a chef.
Oh, great.
I'm no spectacular cook now, but I'm really passionate about food and I love food.
I love
Um, so I definitely think I would explore cooking more.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I love it.
Yeah.
And then the last question is, what is your favorite dance memory? It can be from when you were little until now.
I don't think I have a specific memory, but I do think just all those years of being a competition kid and spending hours and hours at the studio with the same group of girls and endless sleepovers and traveling and all this stuff, it's just, there's such fond memories that I think, you just cherish those. And it's special to see, your students now going through that, and it just brings back memories. And I just love all those years.
Right. The memories are so special, and
Really.
dance memories are ones that you'll never forget. And
Absolutely.
I think dance friends as well, even if you don't keep up with them every day, they'll always hold like a really special place in your heart. So
Totally. That's
yeah,
very
it's so
true.
fun being part of their journey now as a dance
Right.
teacher. So yeah.
Right.
Well, Rose, thank you so much for
Yeah.
meeting with me. It was so great chatting, and I wish you all the best with your dance semester and this whole
Thank you.
season. So
Thank
yeah, it'll be
you.
an interesting one, and we'll make it the
Yeah.
best, right?
Very interesting. We're just taking it a day at a time.
That's right. Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll talk to you later.
Okay, so nice
Thank
chatting.
you. Bye.
Bye.